Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Your child has so much potential, but your local schools may not be right for them. Check out K-12. K-12-powered schools are accredited tuition-free online public schools for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. This is not your typical homeschooling. With state-certified teachers specially trained to teach online, your child will learn at their speed, at home, with innovative, engaging technology. Join the more than 3 million families who have chosen K-12. Go to k12.com/podcast today to learn more. That's k12.com/podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of True Crime Time for Friday, May the 16th, 2025, and I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cindy Overton.
And this is a special drop, y'all.
It's a sensational drop.
Sensational. Have we never had Friday words before? We were trying to make up stuff. Some life for sending some great ones like Tater Tot Tuesday and different ones.
Yeah.
What's Friday? Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, this one was kind of freaky.
Yeah.
So anyway, special drop, but let's go ahead and let the cat out of the bag because you already know. I would think most of y'all would know that it's pretty amazing. The show is approximately 6 months old. Mm-hmm. That Cindy and I have been doing it together, and we hit number 91 in the world on all daily news podcasts. We're talking about Fox and Al Jazeera and NBC and CBS and everyone else, and the husband and wife. And this is not in the true crime genre. I mean, obviously it is because that's what we talk about, but it's news. Go look it up against all the biggest and the best in the world. And that's what they do. And they have $1 million production teams and big skyscrapers and shit like that. And we did it. This just crazy blessing. It proves to y'all that even though this is different than original real life, real crime, this is different than a hashtag justice for Haley or Courtney or Mary, whomever. We started it. It's working. They like it. So you know what? We are bringing you this celebration episode, and we're going to go out on a limb and really cover shit that in detail that we wouldn't normally cover, but it is crimes, and it's a sign of the times crimes.
Maybe we should rhyme every time we say a line.
I'm over here throwing guns. People don't know about that. It's the sign of the times crimes, and I want Cindy to start off with, and I think this story is almost comical, except for the fact there was a robbery involved, and this one's going to be brief, and then we'll get into the big long ones. But this story, when I heard about it, what happened, it was a robbery, and I heard about it, and I thought, this person is living up to my expectations of her. She's a dumbass, but it doesn't make her being a victim any less problem or a crime. I hate anybody that gets robbed. I'd rather deal with a murderer than a thief. You always hear me say that. But so you tell them what happened in the story. This person got robbed, and you tell the story, and then you tell why you're telling the story.
Well,
and then I'm going to say she's a dumbass again.
She's not a dumbass.
Well, evidently she is.
She's a multi
Oh, no, I'm not saying she's not rich.
Hey,
there's plenty of people who are rich AF who are dumb.
She made it herself.
Good for her. Hey, I think when it comes to the fact of being robbed, she's an idiot.
Well,
but go ahead.
Obviously, y'all, he's talking about Kim Kardashian. Her trial started, the trial of her being robbed. So on May 13th. So I'm going to go back. So 9 years ago, she was in France, and she was Snapchatting and Instagramming her way through France and documenting her journey. And 17 people dubbed the Grandpa Robbers. That's what they've been dubbed as because they were all in their 60s and 70s decide to rob her. And so based on DNA evidence and surveillance footage, they found her.
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out. Why did they decide to rob her?
Well, because she was dolled up in all of her jewels and they knew that she was traveling heavy. I mean, she was big balling.
So she is big balling and exactly how she should live her life if that's the way she wants to live it. But she's wearing all this shit. And what did I tell you when we like go to New Orleans to the French Quarter or whatever? I'm going to let you wear certain bags. And I don't wear jewelry and whatever, but you're setting yourself up to be a mark. And now you're in a whole nother country.
Right.
You're wearing $1 million worth of bling bling, right? Just to, woo, look at me, motherfuckers. I got all my shit on.
I don't think
they had photographs of her on social media showing off her bling.
Okay.
That is a target number one. Come rob my ass and take my shit.
Okay.
And so now tell them what happened.
And they did. And she got scared out of her mind that night. So, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows what happened. Do you want me to go into that?
Yeah, I want you to tell them the story.
Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of the story. I have an update on the story, but there was obviously traumatic events. She was hiding in a closet. She was afraid that she was going to get raped and everything else that could happen. That was just held at gunpoint.
All because they didn't just pick her out because she's a Kardashian. They picked her out specifically, and it comes out that they targeted her because she was on social media flaunting her bling. They didn't go there to rape her. A lot of people, if they may, she's all this famous sexual person and videos and all that stuff. No, they went there to rob her because she made herself a super duper target by sticking the diamonds in the camera.
Okay.
And she's there for X amount of time. They find out where she is. They bust in and they get her shit.
They do.
And
it's hours and hours and hours of film. They have her. Yes.
Right. So now, fast forward 9 years later, they finally get their day in court.
Yes.
Tell us what happened.
So that was May 13th. She testified at the trial. She had to look her accused in the face, and she is dressed, and I know you're going to get to this, but she's dressed, and they describe it as a black blazer and a skirt, and it's not just what you would think of a typical like black blazer and a skirt. It's got fans. It's
I don't care how fancy she dressed up in her clothing.
Well, her clothing is probably a couple $1,000s itself, and the fact that she wore it is worth more than that.
It's not worth millions and millions and millions of dollars she got robbed for originally. Go ahead.
So, but she also had on a $3 million
Here we go.
diamond necklace. Plus, she had on some earrings, but it's $3 million.
She returns to the scene of the crime, or the country of the crime, and she probably has on more bling that she got robbed for, which honestly, props for her for having the balls to do that. Because if I was a criminal,
you'd rob her again?
I'm telling you, I'd be setting up. She would her ass would be getting robbed again tonight. That's just the way it is. Not by the same people, because it already worked once, and you are showing up and you got on more shit on purpose. And, I'm pretty sure if I rob you for $4 million worth of jewelry and it takes me 30 minutes, I just had a great lifetime of success. Now I'm retired on the beach somewhere in the Bahamas.
Or you're in jail.
That's correct. But I wouldn't get caught. She had props for her. I bet she had armed security out the ass.
So if you got robbed, let's just pretend that someone.
I've been robbed before.
Okay. So, well, I know you have, but okay. So someone gets maybe some firearms from you.
That's happened to me before.
I know. I'm trying to, what would you do? You wouldn't show up gunless to the next time you see that person. You'd probably go in with 50 guns hanging off of. Like you would say, you're not going to F with me, MFer. I am resilient and I am strong, and you're not going to get to me. I'm going to do
and I just gave her props for that.
I know.
But whatever way they got me, like when they got the guns out of my vehicles when I was out of town that time, guess what I started doing? locking the doors on my vehicles.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to allow them the access to do the same thing. I started taking the guns out of the vehicle, not going to allow them the access to do the same thing. I am telling you, there is some narcissistic asshole out there who's seeing the same report, seeing the jewelry she's got on. They're thinking about, they're scoping it out, figuring all I got to do is run by and snatch that $3 million necklace off her neck.
I know. But you were talking about not letting me wear certain things in New Orleans or when we travel at all. And I don't travel or wear jewelry out, but when usually at all, because, our wedding rings are on our wrist and I don't need that. But I also have some, like my alternatives that women are doing a lot these days. You don't wear your real stuff out. And I wouldn't wear my real, if you see me with stuff out in public, I promise you it's not my real stuff.
All we're trying to do is public service announcement 1492. Be aware, not afraid. Also, if a lot keeps an honest man honest. If the media is going to focus on you showing up with $4 million worth of jewelry on, and because you got robbed for jewelry before.
Yeah.
I do not think, I'm not saying that she shouldn't have done it. I just think it, like you said, maybe wear a fake.
Yeah.
Cause I'm pretty sure I could ride by you on a motorcycle and rip your necklace off and you're getting traumatized again.
Yeah.
Be smart, y'all. It doesn't matter if it's Kim Kardashian getting robbed or somebody's breaking into your home or whatever. Change the pattern. Those people are out there. Hey, guess what? There are people out there that want your shit.
Yeah.
Whether it's sexually, they want to rape you or they want to murder you. They want to rob you. Evil exists. There are people that wake up every morning like we do and have our coffee, discuss our day that's coming up. There are people who wake up every morning and discuss the crimes they're going to commit that day. You know why? And I'm not talking about just dope heads. I'm talking about people that are professionals. That is their chosen lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it happens. I promise you. And they are going to get away with it 9 times out of 10. So any update on what happened in the trial?
So basically she testified and she recounted the traumatic events of that whole night. And she expressed her fears and the psychological impact, but she also addressed a letter of apology from the ringleader. But she said, I forgive you, but it doesn't take away the trauma, that I was left with.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, of course, the public reaction is very similar to yours and mine. Some people are judging her for wearing the expensive jewelry again, and some people are applauding her for, doing it.
I'm doing both.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yours and mine. Like, we're both, like, just mixed,
Right.
How do you?
Right.
But I'm not afraid. I love the Kardashians. I watch every one of their shows. And so I have seen on the show how much security has changed within their homes and how much more there is now and what she usually wears in public now. And she doesn't post in real time anymore. She might post days later. Right. I'm just saying she learned her lesson.
That's the main thing. Do it. Wear it if you want to. Post it an hour after your shit's in the safe.
But the other thing is people don't realize that's not Kim Kardashian's jewelry. A jeweler loaned that to her.
Right? They do that.
That's not even hers.
The music awards and all the different, all that shit we don't watch. And, but it's still, you setting yourself up to be a victim of a crime. I think she's got balls for wearing it, and representing herself in the courtroom. I also think she just made herself a big ass target, no matter whose jewelry it is. Yeah.
Well, they probably took it off of her immediately and put it in a safe connected to some guy's wrist, like with all of her security. Like, she probably didn't walk back outside with that on. I don't know.
Yes, she did.
Okay. Well.
But it doesn't matter. All right. Good one. Good one. You done?
Sure.
All right. So look, we don't really like these famous people stuff, but being that we're now number 91 in the world out of 7.5 million podcasts for news, or this daily show, news, not just true crime. All the rest of those shows are news shows, right? Some of them have very different angles, but have got to tell y'all about the P. Diddy trial and what's going on. It is so, I'm not going to say scorched. It's so out there, and everything is about Diddy or P. Diddy or Pop is what he made the girl call him. Oh yeah. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that in a second. Name. So I'm going to try to condense about 25 different stories into one.
Okay.
All right. So
you don't want to do like a 38-part series?
No.
Okay.
Is that how long that sports has been? Yeah. Well, guess what? It's about to end. So, all right. So we know about P. Diddy. He's all up in the music business and shit. Y'all know who he is, right? You don't have to waste time on that. And then also, he's been sitting in jail on all kinds of charges: human trafficking, sexual exploitation, drugs, rape, all this different bullshit. Not bullshit that he didn't do it, because I feel quite certain that he did. But everybody's so worried this case has such high profile stuff because of the people that are famous or relatively famous that participate in some of these crimes, right? And so everybody's freaking out and worried about it and whatever. What I'm going to do now is kind of catch you up to where we're at on. So the case starts in the beginning, and, Sean Diddy Combs is on trial on charges of sex trafficking to engage in prostitution, transportation to engage in prostitution. And so the opening arguments began on Monday, May the 12th in Manhattan. And, of course, the feds are saying that Combs is the mastermind behind a criminal enterprise that forced women, including his ex-girlfriend, to perform sex acts that he filmed. All right. So Cassie Ventura, you ever heard of her? Mm-mm. All right. Well, evidently back in the day when he first met Cassie, is what they call her. He being Sean Diddy Combs gave her a kiss for the first time.
Oh, her first kiss ever?
No.
Okay.
But he kissed her in August of 2007 on her 21st birthday in Las Vegas after a VMA event. But you know what happened when he kissed her? She said she cried. But not in a good way. Oh. But there's a 17-year age difference between Ventura and Combs. And she said, I was really confused at the time. And, new artist. So he was promoting her, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, I was pretty naive. And then Diddy says, hey, baby, did you want that kiss? Mm-hmm. And Cassie testified. She said, no, not on my birthday, right? Whatever that means. But after her birthday in Vegas, they began to hang out in New York, and she had visited him at the Trump Hotel on Columbus Circle. And she said, look, you know what? I was basically enthralled with the dude. He's a mogul and a big producer, and he's going to help my career and everything else. And she said, you know what? It was pretty fun and entertaining and exciting. And again, my career was in his hands, right? So she's known as, or became famous for Me and You.
Okay.
You ever heard of it?
No.
All right, me either. So she's married to this dude, Alex Fine, and she's 8 months pregnant with her child. This is important because she is on the stand this week testifying she's 8 months pregnant.
Right.
Then it comes into play in a few minutes. So she said that Diddy, who was her boyfriend of 11 years, forced her to perform sex acts and abused her physically and emotionally. Now, I'm not going to read verbatim, but I'll tell you in the beginning, he gave her ecstasy, and then he wanted to do whatever. She testified this week on the stand that he gave her oral sex, the first oral sex she's ever had in her entire life. And it kind of freaked her out, right? At the Trump Hotel. Mm-hmm. And then she's continued to testify, and we're going to get into the juice of it. But basically, we know what the prosecution said what their case is, but the defense is like, fuck her. Our defense is she was with him for 11 years and everything was consensual until in the end she made rape allegations. Oh, no, what happened was he got caught on camera hitting her in a hotel.
Yes. Okay. I remember that.
He got caught hitting her on the camera in a hotel, and then she filed and she got money and whatever. But so that would throw a wrench in your criminal game plan, right? Well, when they started digging, they found a hell of a lot more, including, let me get back for just a second. Let's talk about the whole oral sex thing, right? She was 21 years old, and she said, Sean taught me how. He gave me oral sex. I did not reciprocate. I just went home. And she said, I heard about it from him. He made me feel crazy for not reciprocating, but I didn't understand. And I was in a relationship with someone else. So she said, I was so young, I didn't have the vocabulary and was just trying to understand it. I was sexually inexperienced, and leaving him was always confusing. I felt special, and not a lot of people got time with him like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to call bullshit on that one. What 21-year-old in the history of the world, especially nowadays with everything, doesn't know what oral sex is? I'm not saying she ever had it before, but don't tell me a man performing cunnilingus on you, you don't know what that's even called. And he tries to get you to do the same to him. And now you're testifying all these years later. I didn't even know what it was called. Well, whatever. They're going to get hammered on that in the end. Now we're going to get to the second day of trial, and Cassie's still testifying, 8 months pregnant, right? And she tells the jury about the freak-offs, how they get started. And she was asked by Sean Diddy Combs, to sex parties, and they have become known as freak-offs. Now she's 38 years old. She's testifying again on Tuesday, and she testified that she had just turned 22 when Combs first asked her to engage in the freak-offs, and she was confused and nervous. Okay, I can get that. She said, I just remember my stomach falling to my butt what she said when she was asked about participating. She said, but I loved him so much, right? Mm-hmm. She said she felt she couldn't refuse Diddy because she didn't know what no could be or what no could turn into. Mm-hmm. Like, she's fear of violence, and I don't doubt that probably. Mm-hmm. And she alleges that the repercussions for disobeying Diddy were sometimes violent. Mm-hmm. And he did prove that later on. She said, Sean controlled a lot of my life. And she said, whether it was a career, the way she dressed, everything. She said, Sean is a really polarizing person. He was charming. And it's hard to really be able to determine what you need when he's telling you what he wants. She said, I just didn't know. I didn't know what would happen. So, and she also, obviously, he videotaped all this, and she feared the videos from the freak-offs would get onto the internet. Mm-hmm. So the defense starts to ask questions about a guy named Daniel Phillip, who's a male escort, who had told the jury on Monday that he witnessed Combs beat Ventura and believed she was in danger. So they're trying to discredit him, right? And Combs' defense team, tried to destroy his credibility and said that he wanted to separate from Ventura from Combs because he was romantically interested in her. They got to say something, right?
Right.
And we all know it's bullshit. And then basically they talk about the security guard at hotel tried to pay him to be quiet and not report the beatings that he saw and all that, right? Continuing with Cassie's testimony, she said, I was drinking wine and then started to take drugs, a Blue Dolphin ecstasy pill.
What's that? I mean, I know what ecstasy is, but what's Blue Dolphin? Just
a name. Like when they did different pressers, they put, it could be, stars or Flintstones or whatever.
It's just the shape. It's not.
No. It's just the name. They're all round. It's pills. But it's like their logo.
Okay.
The brand marketing. And yes, it's illegal and they don't want their real name to come out, but every type of ecstasy made by different producers has some type of pink hearts, double dongs, chocolate wafers. They used to call them whatever, right?
But they're all just ecstasy. Blue Diamond doesn't have a different ingredient than pink hearts.
That is correct.
Okay.
So now let's get to the freak-offs again. And she said the freak-offs, which is performance, involved Sean P. Diddy watching her with another person, and he would direct them what to do sexually. Okay. She said, and she's testifying in this court, y'all, that it became her job to set the freak-offs up.
Oh, gosh.
Right. And she said the first time she was asked to participate, she said, I knew it was something he wanted me to do. I just remember my stomach falling in my butt, and I had just turned 22 and didn't have a concept that freak-offs would be a turn on. So I was confused and nervous, but I loved him so much, right? Just like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I mean, she testified about 17 years together. Yeah, she had sex with Combs also, not just the freak-offs, as she got older, but she wasn't sober. I told you Cassie's 8 months plus pregnant, and what I didn't tell you, I forgot to tell you, is when she came into the courtroom this first time she's seen Sean Diddy Combs since 2018. What did she do? Well, she was the key witness for prosecution, and when she entered the courtroom, P. Diddy turned to look at her, but she didn't look back at him. She kept her gaze straight and went ahead and didn't even acknowledge him, which has to piss a motherfucker like that off, right? Yeah. So
I can't believe he turned to look at her, or probably just try to manipulate
that's a
her.
last stab thing, and I've seen that on cases, big cases we have, where people have control over people for so long. Yeah, and you're like, why not turn and stare at her? The bitch may just run off the stand and lose a lot of the stuff. Mm-hmm. So again, Combs, we already talked about. Well, it was CNN that released the video of Combs beating her ass. And after that is when she filed that he raped and assaulted her, but it was settled the following day. I mean, she got a check the following day, and she took away the criminal charges. Jeez. That is so bad from a prosecution standpoint. Now we're back to the freak-offs, right? And she said on one of the freak-offs that Diddy told her to get into an inflatable pool, which was filled with baby oil, right? Said there was over 100 bottles of baby oil they poured into the pool. And she was made to participate in several freak-offs with male escorts over their 11 years together. So back to the pool, she said, you know what? I didn't want to get in the fucking pool. She was fully clothed at the time, but she, again, common theme for her, she feared what Diddy would do if she didn't get in the pool. She said something that Sean wanted to happen, that's what was going to happen. In the indictment against Combs, prosecutors say that the feds found 1,000 bottles of baby oil after raiding Diddy's homes. But of course, Diddy's attorney disputes that number. What does it matter? Right. I mean, well, I kind of backs up if you're going to get into that. If you're made to do these sex acts in the pool and all that, and I'm going to get more detailed in just a second, but you're right. What does it matter? The number is what I'm saying. So guess what the last name is of one of his attorneys, Garagos. Oh, wow. But it's not Garagos. It's not Mark. It's the Tenny Garagos. And I'm referring to the Scorch series I've done 30 something episodes on. Mark Garagos is still a very famous. Actually, the story you're going to talk about next, if we have time, is he's their attorney, right? But anyway, of course, here they come, right? They're like, prior to September 2024, Cassie had filed a civil suit against Combs in November, claiming that he raped and assaulted her, but she took the money and ran, and then began a whole bunch of civil suits, et cetera. So again, she's testifying, and they're digging into the relationship, and this is a little bit freaky, right? On Tuesday, again, the second day of the trial, Cassie tells the jury that Combs had asked what she called her grandfather, and according to her, she called him Pop Pop, which was what we called your daddy. God rest his soul. My daddy's daddy. And oh my God. She said she was 17 years younger than Diddy, and she said she called him Pop Pop because he wanted her to, and began calling him that as well. She said, I did it, but now I think it was disrespectful, and that he abused her and forced her into sexual encounters against her will, including urinating in her mouth and making her engage in the freak-offs, which are the sex parties that can last for days on end. Now, the other side, you always got people that love the person that's on trial, right? So Combs' family members have been present for both days of the trial to express their support for him. But on the first day of the trial, his 3 daughters walked out of the courtroom during the testimony of a male escort, who we told you about earlier, who provided graphic details of Combs' sexual encounters, including the allegations that he abused Ventura. And so, again, back to the urination, I know it's going to freak a lot of people out, but she said sometimes Sean would urinate on me. Sometimes he'd make the male escorts urinate on me. And she said she didn't want to be urinated on, but that she was never asked, and she called it the experience humiliating. She testified she was sometimes choked because there was too much urine in my mouth. She said, I don't want anyone to urinate on me. Sean would urinate in my mouth, not super often, but often enough. In her testimony, she talks about another time that Diddy was close to Suge Knight. I don't mean close, like personal wise, but they were like in the same vicinity, and he gave her a gun. She was high on whatever. After Diddy got alerted about one of the security guards, D-Rock, said that Knight was at a nearby diner, and she said they quickly packed up and drove down there. She said, I was crying, I was screaming, don't do anything stupid. I was just really nervous to them. I didn't know what it meant, what they were going to do. And she testified they all left in an SUV, and she was handed a gun to put in her purse. And she said she had the gun for at least an hour while high on mushrooms.
Oh my.
Pretty fucking sure that's not a combination and you want. She said she was terrified the gun would go off. She said, I had no idea why I had it in the first place, and always felt like it was a scare tactic, right? So, she said that Combs would punish her by having his 24-hour security take away access to her laptop or her phone, controlling shit, right? They're establishing a pattern. She said that being without her electronics for however long, she said, I was being punished for. And she said, asked if he had taken anything else from her, she said, yeah, my self-confidence.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess piss in the mouth will get that for you, right? She said that he tightly controlled her appearance, and he put her on an exercise regimen. This ought to really piss you ladies off out there. Or an exercise regimen just to get ready for the freak-offs. Like she's going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
They're bringing in swinging dicks, paying for them, and you got to get it, right? She said her look during the freak-offs was especially important to him. And some days he would want me to be really sexy, she said, and be his woman other days.
Yeah.
So he went back and forth to sharing and then making love to her, I guess. I don't know. She said that the freak-offs, again, can last several days. The longest one was 4 days or even more, but it had some breaks in between. And she said, I was recovering from drugs and dehydration, just trying to stay awake all the time. She said the freak-offs became a job, which I guess so. And, but that's what evidently P. Diddy liked.
I guess.
He was going to get it, right? So back to the videotape, she called them blackout materials. She said he had many resources to do that. This is her quotations. And he had the ability, naturally, he's this famous dude, to release those recordings. Of course, the defense attorneys tried to paint it at the sex acts as consensual, stating, hey, didn't you get paid? Was Ventura the one who paid you? When I was talking to the male escort also, and he said yes. They said she wasn't drunk or high, and the male escort said no, she wasn't. Summer's just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting the summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. I was paying way too much for wireless service and decided to give Mint Mobile a try. And I've been seriously impressed. The call quality is crystal clear, the data speeds are fast, and I'm saving hundreds of dollars. It's the easiest switch I ever made, and I didn't have to sacrifice a thing. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, dropping monthly bills and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text. delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/RLRC. That's mintmobile.com/RLRC. Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month 5-gigabyte plan required. It's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Hey, lifers, Woody Overton here, and I want to talk to y'all about something that's come up around our house more than once lately: hormones. Now, I can't speak from personal experience on this one, but I've seen it firsthand with Cindy. There were days she'd be feeling drained, overwhelmed, even a little off. We couldn't figure out why. She was eating right, taking care of herself, getting things done like always, but something just wasn't clicking. Turns out it wasn't just stress. It wasn't just being tired. She took this free 2-minute quiz from a company called Happy Mammoth, and it gave her some serious insight into what might be going on with her hormone levels. After answering just a few simple questions, she got personalized breakdown, and one of the main things it pointed out was that her body may be overloaded with estrogen. That's when we found Hormone Harmony, Happy Mammoth's plant-based herbal formula designed to support your hormone levels, stress response, and overall well-being. Since Cindy started taking Hormone Harmony, she said it's made a noticeable difference. Things like occasional bloating, low energy, and those mild mood dips, all less frequent. And it didn't take a huge lifestyle overhaul to see those changes. Just a small daily habit that fit right into her routine. Now listen, this isn't some one-size-fits-all deal. This quiz gives you personalized recommendations so you can understand what's going on in your body and what might help you feel better. Whether it's Hormone Harmony or one of their other hormone support products, you'll know exactly where to start. And here's the thing. Happy Mammoth has helped thousands of women. They have over 40,000 5-star reviews, and a bottle of Hormone Harmony sells every 24 seconds. That many folks can't be wrong. Ready to start feeling like yourself again? Head over to happymammoth.com and take their free 2-minute hormone quiz today to find the ultimate answer to your stubborn hormonal issues. And for a limited time, you can also get 15% off your entire first order with my code RLRC at checkout. That's HAPPYMAMMOTH.com and use the code RLRC for 15% off today. Wow. So this motherfucker might walk. Wow. They said, is it fair? They asked him, this Phillips, the male escort, is it fair to say she was in complete control of everything she did? And Phillips says, I cannot say that. Mm-hmm. Right? So, because everyone wants to know, Combs showed up for court. He was wearing a light colored crew neck sweater, and he gave his attorney some hugs, and he turned to greet members of his family and all that bullshit. It's been handled by U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian, and he says at the beginning of the trial that he was likely to grant media access to the graphic videos that were set to be shown from the free calls. Wow. Yeah, right. So Combs' attorney, Mark, and this, naturally he's got more than one, this Angfilio guy, he requested that Cassie be seated in the witness box before the jury is seated because her appearance could possibly influence the jurors' perception of a key prosecution witness. He said, hey, pregnancy is beautiful and wonderful. That's what the lawyer told the judge. Said it's also a source of potential sympathy. What? Man, defense attorneys are crazy. Well,
like bro. His gray hair isn't a potential. This old man can't be this bad guy. That's scorched.
I knew that was going to get you.
I am not a feminist in any way, shape, or form, but to do that. That's just manipulation.
Well, wait till I tell you the next one. So she's still Cassandra Cassie Ventura, again is her name. And she testifying. She told the jurors everything that I told you. But this I have not told you yet. She told the jurors that at the sex trafficking trial that he forced her to have sex while she had her period. On May 13th, she said that he forced her to take part in the sex encounters called the freak-offs. And she said, I was expected to have freak-offs on my period. Sean would expect it. I don't think anyone wants to do that. And I'm pretty sure she's correct, at least my viewpoint. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and start winding it down just for the sake of time. But she got done testifying about the freak-offs. If it's not adding insult to injury, basically, when everybody got done nutting and doing all the dope up to 4 days sometime, etc., she said, and she testified, that she was left behind to clean up the mess.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking 150 bottles of baby oil. What the fuck are you going to do with that? How are you going to get that to the bathtub to dump it down the drain?
I don't think you did.
And everything else has been going on. You're drinking pee. You've been high on X. You're doing all this stuff. You're getting hammered by male escorts and doing whatever. But hey, baby, now we'll be done with the freak off. Why don't you gonna stay here and clean all this shit up? And then when you get rested, get on the fucking treadmill because we got another freak off coming. You need to be in shape.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a really sad story, and y'all know that we are going to be beginning the human trafficking series, and the first part of it is going to we're going to present a real live human trafficking victim. So y'all, look, it's Friday. The trial has gone on and everything in the world's coming out. Like, she testified that Diddy's like Ike Turner, who used to be Tina and everything else. And it was her job to keep the cops out. So much shit. It's a very compelling story. I see where the defense is going to have a field day with some of this shit to bring reasonable doubt. But they're not done yet. The feds aren't done.
How do you reasonable doubt this?
Talking about Cassie, she dated him for 11 years. They're going to say, you couldn't be influenced. All they have to do, look, this is not probable cause where it's 50% plus one. Reasonable doubt is not beyond all doubt, but reasonable doubt. And just looking at her and, listening to the male escort say, this and that and what have you, and they're gonna hammer her ass. They're gonna say, how much did you profit? And and over the 11 years, why didn't you ever do whatever? Just typical courtroom theatrics, but it's not over.
She's not the star witness, is she?
She is the star witness not for all the crimes, but she's the number one witness they bring in because they want to come in guns blazing.
Yeah.
They already know, believe me, prosecution or experts, they know they got holes in Cassie's shit, right? Yeah. But they also have stuff coming up down the line that's going to plug those holes. And in the end, the jury's going to be so pissed off, they're going to send Diddy down the river or up the river without a paddle.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, we were going to do, I was going to have Cindy do an update on the Menendez brothers. Well, let's just talk about it for 2 seconds. Give them a rundown, and y'all know how this case really pisses me off. I mean, this Sean Diddy, human trafficking is horrible. I get it. Being able to prove it, he's this multimillionaire and all that. Well, these dudes, when they were kids, obviously brutally blew their parents apart. And all these years later, they got Mark Garagos again, the same as Scott Peterson has. And as everyone knows, because we talked about it before, they were up to see if they could be resentenced again, right? Yes. All right. So what happened?
Menendez trial on May 13th, Judge Michael Jessic resentenced the brothers.
So it's a hearing, not a trial, right?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a resentencing, I guess, hearing.
It's a hearing. That's correct.
And he resentenced the brothers to 50 years to life, making them immediately eligible for parole.
So stupid.
And of course, During the resentencing hearing, both brothers expressed remorse. Lyle stated, I take full responsibility for my actions.
Yeah, I'm sure you do that now, but not bringing your mom and daddy back.
Eric echoed similar sentiments. But what interested me about this is, like, obviously now the parole process starts. And so they're scheduled for their parole hearing on June 13th. Mm-hmm. And if granted parole, the decision would still require the governor to veto the parole board's recommendation if need be. But what I thought was interesting is that the boys haven't really been that great while they've been inside.
Tell about it.
So
no, the one lost his toupee.
So while they have been in prison, they have been engaged in quote unquote rehabilitation efforts. Mm-hmm. Lyle has worked on the Green Space project, aiming to create humane prison environments.
Isn't that nice? Hey, Lyle, prisons are bad for a reason.
And Eric has been involved in the life care and hospice program for elderly inmates. Okay. So kudos to them. That's great. So while both brothers have been engaged in the rehabilitation programs, they have mixed disciplinary records. Eric was found with contraband items, and Lyle has been noted for exhibiting entitlement and narcissism. But what were the contraband items?
That's not a prison rule.
I know, but I'm sure a parole officer, a parole board person's going to say.
Right. Contraband is anything, y'all. It doesn't have to be dope, but it could be anything that is not approved in the prison system's list. Everything from a type of toothpaste to whatever.
Eric had a cell phone.
Yep.
Tobacco.
Okay.
He was involved in an incident in 1998 where he traded television sets with another inmate, which led to the discovery of a video game machine and a 35 millimeter camera. Why do you need a camera up in there?
Free calls, ask Diddy.
Both considered obviously contraband, and they were hidden in the other inmate's cell. And the incident resulted in admin seg for Eric and two fellow.
Y'all, you get arrested inside a prison. They don't take you out to the street jail. They put you in the hole.
So these infractions have to the moderate risk assessment in the parole evaluation.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They're going to fucking let them out. Ask Christina Constance and these other people who've committed such horrible crimes. But, man, you know, they went out after they blew their daddy's head off and shot their mama up. They went to the car and got more shotgun shells to come back in and finish their mom off.
Yeah.
And then all the money and living the high life and all that bullshit. Yeah, you saw remorse reactions. What you going to do? Stand in prison in front of the judge where you're trying to get out and say, I meant to do it, motherfucker, because I'm a bad dude, and it doesn't work. You, whichever one of the idiots it is that is doing hospice. I mean, obviously, my daddy just died on hospice. I think that's commendable, but you know what? Motherfucker ain't got nothing else to do. And in hospice, he's been sitting in an air conditioner infirmary and everything else. And you know,
exactly.
He's not out in the field pushing the line.
Exactly.
So, but whatever.
And he could have done hospice for his own daddy.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. There's two people he's never going to get to do hospice for, and that's his own mom and his own daddy.
Yes.
He did hospice, but it's just not spelled HOSPICE. Right? It's spelled HOMICIDE.
Well, yes.
He murdered him. So with that being said, thank y'all for, please keep liking and sharing because you made us famous. This little show. No, you know what I mean. And it's awesome. Who knew? We knew the numbers were growing. We could see it every day. And but it's so different than what we started. And yes, original Real Life Real Crimes coming back on Saturdays, right? And yes, we're going to work on human trafficking cases. And yes, I'm going to take some hashtag justice fours in the future. But there's enough of you out there that love this show, what I do with my wife, what we do together, and that it made it great. Right? I was so proud. It's
Make
like
real
having a
life,
baby.
real crime great again.
I never had a baby, but I'm proud of this 6-month baby. Right? All right, y'all. I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cindy Overton.
Your host of True Crime Time for Friday, May the 16th. We will holler at you later. Peace.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Your child has so much potential, but your local schools may not be right for them. Check out K-12. K-12 powered schools are accredited tuition-free online public schools for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. This is not your typical homeschooling. With state-certified teachers specially trained to teach online, your child will learn at their speed, at home, with innovative, engaging technology. Join the more than 3 million families who have chosen K-12. Go to k12.com/podcast today to learn more. That's k12.com/podcast.